In 2005, two Wisconsin brothers founded a silencer research and development company called Hearing Protection LLC. After escaping Hillary Clinton's dangerously mismanaged State Department security program, these brothers went full tilt into standing up their own firearms company. Today, still under the watchful eye of government regulatory agencies, they survive as entrepreneurs of fortune. If you have a problem, if you have shitty kit, and you're in desperate need of an upgrade, maybe you can buy Griffin Armament.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Dwell Time Podcast. We really appreciate you listening. We have a very special guest with us today, Jay Pedro, old leader, mentor, and friend. Now I can call him a friend because we're out of the Army. He's the owner of Gray Sky Training and Consulting, which is a training company. He has a wealth of knowledge and experience with tactical training, I think mostly focusing on precision rifle sniper skills and things like that. So really impressive individual. I'm proud to know him. And why don't you just take a few minutes, Jay, to talk about, going as far back as you want, what interested you in, firearms, snipers type stuff, the military, things like that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thanks for having me up here, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
You guys, I just got the tour, and it's pretty amazing what you guys are doing down there.
Thanks. Yeah.
I'm absolutely stunned by how much you guys have going on. Love your products. I've been playing with those for quite a while too. So myself, man, I was an 80s kid, right? Just like pretty much I think every other boy in the 80s. It was, you grew up on the A-Team and Commando, Predator, Terminator, all that stuff. Like how could you not be a gun guy being born in this, like
pretty much
late 70s, early 80s? Like you kind of had to be. As far as like the technical side of it, like I was always a huge reader when I was a kid. I love to read books. I was a complete bookworm, and I remember I went to the grocery store with my grandfather. He bought me a Guns and Ammo magazine, and I was probably middle school age, and I read that thing front to back. I got a subscription to Guns and Ammo, Soldier of Fortune. Like when I was a teenager, I was collecting all the back issues.
Yeah, Soldier of Fortune was super cool.
Yeah, and then the Paladin Press, books started coming in, and it was the old like Chuck Taylor, fighting shotgun, fighting carbine, like all his old stuff. So I just read everything I possibly could, and then I want to say it was probably like 90, 91, maybe 1990. My grandfather took me over to the Blue Trail Range in Wallingford, and it was all the big gun companies were right in the area. Colt, Mossberg, Winchester. This is again early 90s, so they hadn't left Connecticut yet. And it was like a big demo day. So you'd go up there. They had every company had their own booth and table with every model out there, and it was like $1, and you'd get a magazine of rounds. So I went out there and I tried everything. It was like first time ever shooting all these real guns. So 1911s, Remington 870s, Remington 700s, and then I got to the Colt booth. And there it was, the AR-15.
Right.
Man, I've been waiting my whole life to touch this thing. And they had a bunch of like clay pigeons clothes pinned up to some snow fencing, and I dumped that mag in about a second. I thought it was so cool, and then the range guy grabbed me, and I knew I was in big trouble.
Oh, really?
You're supposed to do like a super slow fire type thing. That's the last thing they wanted at the time, was someone to do basically like a 5-round like magged up down range. I was a little kid. I didn't really know better, but there's all this stuff that was coming. The AR-15 became the Sporter, became the match target, the assault weapons ban, all that stuff that kind of came out then. So I turned 18 right when the ban happened, so that was fun. So I always, the technical aspect of guns and the historical stuff, all the sniping. I read Sniping in France, Rifleman went to War, like all those old books. And if you look at those books, not a lot has actually changed. There's like ancient texts that talk about like ancient Rome and how much somebody could carry and how far they could go and how fast, and it pretty much matches the same standards that we use today in the Army.
Because humans are humans.
Humans are humans, right? We haven't changed that much. So all that World War I stuff, World War II stuff, and a rifleman went to war, he talks about, about 3 seconds being the time it takes for you to kind of spot somebody, get on the gun and fire that shot off. It's like, man, it's like we still use that 3 to 5 second rush. You realize that's how long it takes. So when you get up and you got to move, that's how much time you have, right? So that you got to make your movement in that time. But on the shooting side of it, you have to be accurate, but you have to be fast as well, right? So that speed always has to be built into it. And that's kind of something that always kind of carried with me over the years, no matter what I was doing.
Cool. So when did you, I guess, transition from being a child that was interested in guns, doing all the reading, to like deciding I'm going to join the military?
Yeah. So, I mean, high school, I had the Army pamphlets. I used to slip them in my math book and flip through them, and like, man, that's so cool. Let's see. So once I got out of high school, kind of had a surprise, girlfriend got pregnant type thing, and she's like, well, I'm not going anywhere. If you go, go in the military, I'm staying right here type thing. So I was like, all right. I was like, well, I always want to be a cop too. So maybe I'll go part-time in the military, and then I'll just start putting for a cop job. Because, again, grew up watching like TJ Hooker and all the 80s.
Yeah,
cop
that's
shows.
like one of the best shows ever, by the way.
It is.
For anyone who
if you've
just
never
picked up
seen
on
it,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Google.
William Shatner kills like 2 to 3 people per
Every episode. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because the A-Team is like synonymous for the 80s action sitcom, which it was, but they almost never killed anyone in the A-Team. But TJ Hooker was taking bodies every show consistently.
Yes, nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my plans got a little bit changed up, and I was like, man, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to college. At the time, Bill Clinton was closing everything, right? The military was not what it is today, and in GWAT and everything. He had the BRAC was going on. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I don't.
So it was the Base Realignment and Closure Act, and they were just whole divisions were just getting closed up and then stuffed into other places. So there really wasn't a lot of places to actually go. I mean, guard units were full. It was kind of a crazy time. So I was like, all right. So I went to the guard, took the ASVAB test. Did pretty good. The guy's like, yeah, what do you want to be? You want to be a MP like me? I was like, no, man, I want to be 11 Bravo. He's like, okay, cool. So I did that.
No offense to the MPs,
No
but
offense to MPs.
yeah. Take offense if you want to. It's fine.
I really don't care. Giving out speeding tickets in combat. So.
Right.
So I joined the guard, started putting in for cop jobs, stuff like that. And then I got picked up for an active duty counter drug slot, which was super fun because it was the 90s and crack wars, everything else like that was going on. So I thought it was super cool. I'm working with helping DEA guys, FBI guys, doing intel type stuff. I mean, I think there's some Supreme Court rulings since then, but when we were pulling people's like power bills and seeing who was like standing out and using helicopters with thermals and looking for dumb stuff like grow houses. Like nowadays, like everybody can buy weed. So it's kind of to think that how much the federal government spent back then on like trying to find people growing it in their houses is insane.
Right.
But a different mindset, I guess. But that was a pretty fun gig, man. And then I had my app in a couple places, and 9/11 happened, right? And I was still full time, so I had a couple. They weren't really releasing anybody like from guard status or anything. And I was like, man, I really want to go like get in that fight somehow. And then like, hey, your unit's getting called up. I was like, that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to go. And I ended up getting sent to West Point.
Oh, wow.
As like a force pro for a few months.
Okay.
This is trash. I hated this. But what was super cool about going there, I got to meet some really cool people. So they actually have a combat weapons team there. And my buddy Joe Suk, who owns SKD Tactical. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, yeah, I know SKD.
Yeah, so I met him there. He was helping out with shooting, and Jose Gordon.
He does a lot of parachuting, doesn't he?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I think he like owned a parachuting company or something at one point, but anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to meet him. My buddy Colin, he was there with me. He's actually my partner when I went to school. And Jose Gordon was there as well. And he was kind of running the combat weapons team for the cadets. So, I mean, it was pretty good for me because we got to go and do like shooting on the range. I mean, it was fun. So we're, doing fast shooting and whatever. I was like, oh, cool, I'm just getting paid to kind of hang out and do this. And other guys were doing gates and stuff, and I was running ranges and playing around. So the fall before that, the year before I went to sniper school. That fall, I went to the Winston P. Wilson match, right? So that's down at Camp Robinson, Arkansas.
Okay.
And they have sniper, pistol, rifle, all that stuff. People come from all over the world for it. Foreign militaries, guard teams, reserve teams, everything else. So I went and shot that. And there's a bunch of dudes from the state went, and they were like on the pistol rifle team. And like, yeah, just come. It's your first time. Just kind of, just have fun, see what you can learn. And I shot sniper, and then I got called up. I won the top shooter basically for sniper. And
awesome.
I got called up again for the stock, and then I got called up again for another one. And I ended up leaving with like a Xerox box full of trophies from that. And all
we actually some prizes down there this last year.
Yeah. All of the old guys that were there they couldn't believe it. So it was pretty funny. But because of that, I got tied in with the guys at the schoolhouse, right? So the Camp Robinson school, it's always been pretty top notch, right? So it was a National Guard, course, and then he basically got picked up by the Army. So it became just another Bravo 4 ASI producing school, accredited by the Army, everything else. And we had a bunch of like actual talented guys there. A lot of the guys that had worked at betting in the past, when they came off active duty, they went and just started up at Robinson. So I was up at the West Point thing, and they got tasked to run a level 2 SOTIC down at Camp Blanding in Florida for a 20th Special Forces group. So they asked me to go, help out with them, kind of like a trial run type thing. And so I went down, helped out with that class, and I didn't really hear much of it. Didn't think too much. Went back, and then they called me and they said, "Hey, we need guys to come down here full time and teach at the school. It's like basically Title 10." So it was full time MOB type jobs. It was a pretty.
That was at Blanding.
No, Camp Robinson.
Oh, okay, Camp Robinson.
Yeah, the first course I thought was at Blanding.
Okay, sure.
So I went up. I got sent to Robinson, and I was there as sniper instructor, right? So it's kind of funny. I think about it like how strict it was. Like you just didn't go there and swagger around like, oh, I'm a cool sniper instructor. Like you were the new guy. You were dog meat. If you wanted to teach a class, it was the dumbest class they had. It was like how to tie jute on a ghillie suit, and you got murder boarded, right? So everything had to be perfect. They'd ask you questions and stuff. You had to know everything inside and out. So I think that level of kind of getting your face ground in it and having to be perfect on everything, I think that's really where I got a lot of stuff that helped me later building classes and POIs and everything else, because I was such a stickler for everything. For the time I had, the info I have, I basically, as an instructor, you have to be a funnel, right? So you have to know this. You don't have time to give this to the students. You have time to give them this. So you have to know what's important and give it to them in that concise time. And it's always kind of helped me out. So
how many classes did you do there before you started getting integrated on a higher level? Because when Austin and I went there, you were the senior instructor.
Yeah. I mean, I moved up, pretty fast.
Okay.
Started taking over a lot of classes, and we were so busy. This was peak GWAT. This was 2003 into 2004, and everything was going at that time, and guys needed snipers. So it was.
But you were at the school for a longer time. How long were you there?
No, I was there 6 years total.
Okay.
I was teaching.
All right.
So, when I got there, again, I had a lot of people kind of show me the ropes and everything. And again, I was this like voracious reader. I'd read all these books and stuff, and kind of figured out, hey, some stuff is kind of wrong here. The Army Sniper Manual, all the math doesn't really work. And so it was kind of cool. One of the guys that was there, he had a copy of X-Ball, EXBAL, and I basically I used to give to all students. It was the first ballistics program. And then this stuff was kind of just starting to come out. So I had read the Sierra Rifle Reloading Manual, and that's kind of where I got all my ballistics info from at the time. And I took the Army Sniper Manual and all the charts, and I started playing with the the solver, right? Now it's a common thing. Everyone's got them on their phone. That was absolutely not the case back then, going on 20 years ago. So going in there, and I kind of figured out, man, there's just way better ways to kind of do this stuff. And so I just kind of really started to simplify things, figured out like the math, like it's not a linear thing. Like what the manual said was every 20 degrees of change in temp is a 1 MOA change. Now let's type of Army scopes and stuff at the time. So you had a fixed 10-power optic, all right? The clicks were in minutes of angle. The reticle was in mils, but the turrets were marked in a BDC, right? So not the most simple thing to use. Whereas now everything's, mil, first focal plane. It's kind of, sniper's dream, readily available. None of that stuff was around at the time. So playing with Expo, I started to rewrite a lot of the classes, the PowerPoints, the POI, the handouts, and I got pretty good at that. And I learned a lot by doing that, and it was pretty good. And started building guns. I got into the SPR thing real big.
So the school essentially saw you as a motivated person that was doing research on your own, and they gave you the leeway and the leniency to get in there and rewrite stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't just me. There was there's other guys, everyone there at the time. It was an amazing crew where everyone was pretty smart. We were all doing stuff. We were already shooting horse reticle optics. We were running solvers, all the stuff that people just do now, take for granted. We were doing that before a lot of other people in the military even knew what it was or anything.
Right.
So it was kind of an exciting time. We got to do a bunch of stuff with Battle Lab, Picatinny, things like that. Like for the SAS that was coming out, I was involved with testing on that. Some stuff for the M107 and different types of ammo, sniper accessory kits. So we were getting used a lot for testing and stuff. Getting to put our feedback in on quite a few things as well. And
you were competing too, right?
Yes, yeah. So I was always big at shooting comps. It's always been my thing. Like I told you, I went to Wilson match. I did pretty good there. They got my name on the little rifle trophy that's at Camp Robinson in the Marksman Training Unit. And I got to shoot ISC, the International Sniper Competition 2005, with my good buddy Randy. And we ended up winning that, So it's like, man, like this is going pretty good. So the stuff I learned about streamlining data and managing it and doing all this stuff and running a gas gun fast, going back to that stuff. Remember I said you have to be accurate, but you got to be fast too. I was pushing all that stuff as much as I could. And there wasn't a lot of people really talking about that in the sniper world back then. And it definitely paid off because we were doing very, very well.
Yeah, because the doctrine was more, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like it was more slow fire marksmanship oriented.
Yes, I mean, we were doing some crazy stuff. There was a lot of legacy stuff that was left over, kind of like the Carlos Hathcocky part of the sniper world, right? So I mean, it's like these bushy ghillie suits, and you single loaded the bolt gun, and then you knife edged the bolt and brought it back, and you caught the brass with your hand and put it in your pocket, so the enemy, couldn't see you in the grass, like couldn't see the glint off the brass. It was just like crazy stuff that had absolutely nothing to do with the war that we were fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan at the time. This was urban combat. It was fighting building to building, covering guys, crossing streets, things like that, guys planting IEDs, enemy snipers. So it was a fast-paced type stuff. And a lot of the training up until that point had been that legacy, you're going to low crawl in a ghillie suit for 800 yards to shoot the enemy general, and then you're going to run out through the woods. And that's absolutely what wasn't happening. There's like a huge aversion to actually like using bipods when I went to sniper school, and they got bipods will break. Yeah, they can break. But I've had Harris bipods the last 20 years before the weld finally went.
Right.
So they'd actually have you take like puss pad, the gray foam pad, and they'd have you take that and put coat hanger through it, wrap it all with tape, make a little L shape, 550 cord that down to your ruck, and then you shot off that for like the whole class. How applicable to that is an urban gunfight? It's absolutely not. So again, right. It was not just me; it was a lot of other guys there too. But we were trying to really streamline it. And we were running nonstop classes, not just at Camp Robinson, but we were going to all the Army bases around the world. I think we taught three sniper schools in Germany. We taught sniper school in Iraq. 2006, we went over there. We ran several schools, which went really, really well. I'll come back to that in a second. Fort Campbell, Carson, Fort Lewis, you name it. I was co-teaching with the betting instructors. We did courses up at Fort Bragg. Third Bat was sending their guys to us at the schoolhouse. Fifth Group was sending their guys to us. So between all the comp stuff that we were doing and everything else, we started to get a pretty good name. If you look at the National Sniper Comp and some of the scores, even since then, you'll see that the Camp Robinson School has been a pretty good track record of guys doing very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were there twice.
Yeah, I got 2005. I got first place. 2007, I got second.
Okay,
and I ran a SPR both times.
Yeah, that's people don't understand. That's really competitive. There's like 35 teams, so and service wide, so that's maybe 40 teams. It's huge.
Yeah. So we went to Iraq in 2006. We'd done actually several trips over there, but the 2006 one, we ran several very large classes, and that was kind of the peak of the counter IED fight, and it was very, very effective. I mean, we had some very large. I'll post some pictures this week. We had some very large classes. We were taking guys out. We're doing everything. We're doing known distance, unknown distance, stocks, target detection, all the basic schoolhouse stuff. But then we were also taking guys out and kind of doing like a left seat, right seat. Like here's how you're the baby sniper type thing. As you know, snipers very effective in the counterinsurgency fight, right? You've got enemy snipers, you've got guys planting IEDs, and long after that, we had guys, calling us, sending us emails, like pictures of the dudes they'd shot, with the IED and stuff like that, and I think that was a huge win, going over there in that year, and teaching all those young kids and getting them spun up. It's probably one of the proudest things that we ever did, because I know for a fact we saved a lot of dudes' lives from getting blown up by getting those guys out there and teaching them kind of the game plan.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember.
We got to see some slides from that and stuff like that. And they were teaching, advanced techniques. So it's like not stuff that you're taught in sniper school, but stuff that was applicable to hiding in an urban environment. And hiding is really important because you can be a deterrent on a tower or on top of a building or something like that, and the enemy's not going to do anything because they respect your capabilities, but that isn't going to take it to the enemy in terms of actually taking them out, like actually punking them would.
Yeah, no, totally. So, and it was a pretty simple thing. So we identified what was called a tier 1 IED site, right? So it had so many IEDs in a certain time, and so we'd go out there and sit on it, and sometimes it was in buildings, sometimes it was, side of the road, rural areas, whatever it happened to be. And then we did some baited sniper ambushes too, which, pretty easy. So you basically, what part of the city the bad guys are in. So you would basically get dropped off. You kind of do like a slow roll out of a Humvee and a Wadi at night. They keep driving on. You just wait there for a while, make sure everything's quiet, sneak in, set up, and patrol comes through in daylight, and they drop a generator with a pole and a camera on it, and they run some casino wire, put up a sign that says, don't shoot at this, try to climb the wire or climb it, or you'll be killed type thing. And they would drive away, and we'd be waiting, and then sure enough, somebody would come out a little while later and do one of those things. So it was a pretty proven tactic for a while.
Curiosity kills the cat.
Curiosity kills the cat. They didn't like cameras pointed at where they were doing shady stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it was a lot of teams used that technique, and then doing the urban hides and stuff. And it was a crazy time for snipers. I mean, if you think about it, even now, I know guys that have been in the military like in the last few years, even like went to Afghanistan and Syria and stuff, and they're like, man, like, you guys used to go out like just a couple of guys like out through town. I was like, oh yeah, like the military I think is much more risk averse now than they were kind of like that 2006 timeframe. Right. So I finished up my time at this. I was there 6 years. was a great time, man. It was the absolute time of my life. I loved training guys. I loved building POIs and curriculums and learning. I went, like we were talking about before, I was also, I wasn't happy with just what I was getting at work, so I was going outside of work to try and do even more. So I started shooting IDPA at a local range, CASA, right? So I would go out there. I was shooting pistol matches. I was paying out of pocket for classes to take. So I think I was in Larry Vickers, like his first class when he came out of the unit as being their fire instructor. I left Camp Robinson, drove to North Carolina, took the class, and came, for 2 days, drove back that night. I met a lot of cool people in that class, including John Noveski. He was a friend of mine. We talked all the time till he got killed. Like lots of gas gun stuff way back in the day. So I was very, very fortunate that people I came in contact with over the years. Amazing people in the community, and I learned from so many people that built me. I feel like I didn't do anything. I was in the right place to kind of scoop stuff up and gather it, and just kind of be able to kind of edit things down and then put it back out.
Sure. My memory was a little different. I thought you were one of the more, you, in my opinion, when I was at sniper school and the instructors that I remember, you were one of the more prominent people in terms of really aggressively motivated towards making students complete the course, so I appreciate that, because you definitely helped me out. I guess take us from, after sniper school to what you did, in the middle of that up until today with Gray Sky.
So when I left the school, I was like, man, I still want to do that cop thing. You know what I mean? So I had a buddy up in Vermont, and he's like, hey, we're hiring up here, and I'd known him. He'd actually been SWAT snipering where I was from in Connecticut. And I put in for everything, started the whole process, transferred up to Vermont in the guard side to the Mountain Warfare School. They have a infantry company right next to it. As part of it, most of the guys that work at the mountain school, they were all like active duty before. A lot of them have been like Ranger Bat or whatever. So that unit was full of pretty solid dudes. You know what I mean? It was like a lot of mature people. It wasn't like a regular Army unit where you just got a bunch of 18-year-old kids. I mean, there's state troopers. There's a ton of prior service dudes. There's dudes that had been deployed a couple times already. So they got called up to go to Afghanistan for 2010. So I begged to go as a sniper, and they're like, "You're an E7." I was like, I don't care. I was like, demote me. Like, I just want to go. I just want to go and shoot people. So we were going to PAC-T. It was 2010. It was the Wild West. So they actually kept me in the scout platoon for a while. And I was like, man, this is great. Like, I'm just going to be like the best, E7 paid, like, E4 ever. I just want to do long gun stuff. But it was very short lived. I think it was like, a few weeks, and then ended up needing a platoon sergeant over an Alpha company. So I got second platoon, and just amazing bunch of dudes. And then we got over there. We were in PAC-T province, which was, if you've ever seen the National Geographic with the girl with the green eyes and the, the pretty famous one.
Yeah.
If you read that issue, it's about that area. That's where Bin Laden fought the Spetsnaz and the Lions Den.
I think I might have met the lady who made that picture.
Really?
On a flight to Haiti.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So 2010, we're, PAC-T province there, and I'm the platoon sergeant, and I made a big stink, and they let me keep all my sniper stuff with me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, cool. Like, I'm gonna get to do whatever I want. So I had my bolt gun. I had my 107, and I was a platoon sergeant. We became landowners of two districts south of us. And it was, like I said, it was pretty much the Wild West. I mean, it was lots of gunfights. It was everything. It was craziness. So a lot of action over there.
So then after your deployment in Afghanistan, what was the next step for you after that stuff?
So after Afghanistan, I was home a few weeks, and I passed all the police testing and stuff. So I went right to the police academy. I hated it, honestly. It's like basic training all over again. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. So, did the cop thing, moved up through it, firearms instructor for this, that, tactical team stuff. Went to Darcy's LE counterterrorism course, I thought was a great course. Went to Capital Region SWAT school. Started shooting comps, Border Patrol 3-gun comp. They stood one up in the Northeast. I won that. State Patrol rifle comp. I shot that, won that. So I constantly staying in the competition game still. And then I was done. I did 10 years, and it was not very fun anymore.
Okay.
So I started looking for other things to do. One of my buddies had been a VP at Triple Canopy, and he's like, hey man, he had a thing going on in Iraq. So he asked me to go over there, like a site manager type thing at one of the sites. I was like, yeah, sounds awesome. Like I'm totally down. So I needed to hit that because I was doing some, like, I'd done EP work in the past, like PSD type stuff. And I needed that 10-year retirement cred basically to be able to carry a gun anywhere in the country. So that's part of my big plan. So I hit my 10 years, put my paperwork in. COVID hit, right? So it was like while COVID's going on. So if you remember, there's a whole thing with like the visas, like we were like, we're not going to let anybody from Iraq in the country. So they're like, okay, fine, we'll do the same to you. So I was kind of waiting a little bit, and I was like, oh man, this is really, it's been a few months now. Like I'm starting to get nervous. So I started teaching over at Ridgeline Defense. They did a bunch of stuff over there, mostly like kind of like scope carving. They get some mill contracts through like Team 1 Yellow Rally School and stuff like that for some like vehicle fighting things. I was teaching that, and I ended up teaching pretty much everything over there. Pistol, carbine, long gun. I became the LE program manager. Built a bunch of classes as far as like DM program management, like where I help you like come build your DM program for your agency. And again, some good guys over there teaching and stuff as well. It was not all me. But I had I got to put a little bit of LE focus on that side of it. And moved up to director of training. Was there about 3 years. Left the company and started doing some PSD work and working on building my own company, right? So PSD work I'm doing, I can't talk too much about it, but it's pretty fun. I get paid to travel. I live pretty good. It's it keeps you relevant. I think it's important to do something where you're still kind of in the game, and there's at least the potential of bad guys out there to keep you sharp. You know what I mean? If you're just in a training environment for so long, I think you kind of lose that edge and that focus on what you're really training for. Like training to me, especially on the like long gun side and everything. Like I had dudes that were sniper students that got killed. Doing the job I taught them to do. It's like, man, like what could I have done better? I mean, probably nothing. I mean, it was war, so
sometimes good people are just unlucky.
Right, exactly. But it was always very, very personal to me. About how important that role is, because it is a life or death thing for me. The guys that go out, whether it's a law enforcement dude, a military guy, whatever, like they're in that role because nobody does it. And well, maybe some people do, but guys don't go into that role and they say, I just want to collect a paycheck or whatever. If you ask most people, they want to make the world a better place, right? They're honorable people. So
and specifically, I think in the precision community, people that are going there have an absolute passion for it.
Yes.
And they're suffering at the unit level with unit selection processes to try to get an opportunity to go to a school. And so typically the people that are there are extremely motivated.
That's the other point, is that the guy doesn't have 100% freedom on how he's going to execute a mission or what mission he's going to be on. So there's a lot of bureaucracy that'll play into that at times. So people that you may have trained that were killed, there's a number of factors that can contribute to that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I totally get all that, but it is a serious thing for me. It's not a game. It's not just a way to make some extra money, like to run a class. Like it's a passion of mine. Right. So when I want to start my own company, it's like, and I don't just want to teach marksmanship, shooting. Like there's a lot of awesome dudes that can shoot really good, really fast. I think I shoot pretty good myself, but I like to help the full thing. You know what I mean? Like the fieldcraft piece of it. How do you build your program? What kind of equipment do you need? Like the full thing. I could talk to it, and I think that's one of the things that kind of sets me apart is I have that formal schoolhouse time, right? So building POIs, lesson plans, training schedules. I got pretty good at that. Knowing what guys need, because I've been military, I've been law enforcement, and I've shot a ton of cops. So I can kind of tailor, like, what are you in the class for? Okay, that's what you want to get out of it. Cool. This is how I'm going to help you get what you want out of this class. So I think that's kind of what I bring is I know all the different sides.
Sure. And with Gray Sky, you're going to be catering to government training primarily, but also potentially some what people call open enrollment training as well.
No, I love doing open enrollment classes. I love teaching guys that want to learn how to shoot, whether it's to defend their family, hunt, shoot competitions, China invades, whatever it happens to be, whatever you see yourself needing that long gun or pistol or whatever for. Like I just love to help guys get better. I love to see how happy they get when they see their skill developing.
Are you going to be traveling around the United States? Are you going to be staying in the Northeast region, or what are you going to be?
So I've got quite a few things in the work right now. A lot of what I've been doing the last few months has been like kind of private, like law enforcement, like contract type stuff. Mm-hmm. So I have been approached by a very large agency about doing a counter sniper POI. So I have been building that. So if someone's out there and you're in an LE agency and you're like, hey, we don't have a good counter sniper capability as far as the Overwatch piece of it, building, gridded reference guides and the investigative part of it, the shooting part of it, the integrating snipers, drones, whatever it is, like I have a pretty good process for that. And again, I'm building a course for that. So I'm told to be like a recurring contract type thing. But I also have sniper stuff. I could do, if you need, I need a basic course, I need an advanced course. I just need a sniper sustainment course. That's what a lot of agencies have, is they send their guy to school and then they kind of forget about him, right? So the guy's, he's in that sniper role for 5-6 years, say, but what is he doing in there? So he should be going to some kind of training and kind of refining his skills, seeing
recurrent training,
right?
Keeping him sharp.
Yep.
Yeah.
So also the LE scope carbine side, whether it's a more patrol LPVO type thing, is it a SWAT SPR, however that happens to be for your agency or your role, and you kind of see it's kind of splitting off now. I can help you. I'll help you with that as well. I could do carbine stuff, shotgun breaching. I don't just shoot these things. Like I have policies that I can help you with. The equipment side, planning. What do a lot of guys do in police agencies? They wait until it's like, hey, my gun is shot out, and then the chief is like, okay, like somebody should have been doing the math to say this is how many rounds I shoot a year. This is how many rounds this barrel is going to last. So I know in 3 years I need to have barrels in the budget. That type of stuff. The back end stuff that a lot of people, frankly, just in the training world aren't really doing.
Yeah, logistical, administrative. Yes. Work to help make them basically mission ready,
right? And that's just as important as the shooting side of it. So I think that's one of the things. And again, it doesn't have to be a full class, and also like hard target stuff. So so guys have called me up like, hey, we just got a 50 cal, we don't know what the hell we're doing. Like I can come and do like a consult type thing and show you the maintenance side of it, help you write a policy, when you're going to use it, what type of ammo you need to buy. So I could do that stuff before I even come in for a class. So if they go on the website, there's all that. But
so you basically can do essentially consulting services, not in person or in person.
Yep. Yeah, I could do both. Okay. So that's obviously a business. I'm trying to make money, but if someone calls me, it's like, hey, like I just need help with this. Like I'm going to help you out.
Sure.
Again, that's why I do it. On the mill side, again, like DMs. snipers. They want to get ready for a comp. They want to go shoot ISC. They want to train up for a week. Give me a call. I kind of know my way around that stuff. I can come in, train your team up. You want some DM type training? You want some sniper type training? I can do that as well. Again, I have POIs written for all this stuff. I'm not just going to show up at the range and be like, hey, we're just going to go bang some steel like for 8 hours. That's not what I'm about.
Sure. I'm assuming that government people will contact you, agencies or groups that need help, and you'll do that kind of behind the scenes consulting thing that the public doesn't really ever see. But for consumers that are maybe listening to the podcast that are thinking, hey, if I get the opportunity, I'd love to train with this guy. Are you going to be at, maybe you already have it now, or are you going to do this? But if you have open enrollment classes, will you try to push that out, in advance, months down the road, so that people can actually plan for that?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
All I need is a host. So if you have a range and you want to host a class, give me a call, shoot me an email, and we'll get it on the schedule. Start filling it up.
Okay. Cool.
So I've been talking to Ben Franklin Range out in PA there, and he's got some stuff. So I'm actually heading down there next week to have a big meeting with him.
Yeah, I just know that a lot of what I would consider bona fide instructors like yourself, once they actually publish their open enrollment schedule, sometimes it fills up, a year in advance.
Right.
And so that's why the further look ahead people have, to plan that for their calendar, because these people are taking vacation and stuff like that to go train. Right. It helps them out. But so Gray Sky Training, obviously people can Google that, find your website.
Yeah, it's just grayskytraining.com.
Grayskytraining.com. Okay. So obviously give that a look. Do you have any other questions or things you want to talk about, or?
I mean, not really. I can say that Jay is a very impressive individual who knows a lot. You can't go to the international comp and win it the first time and go back and second place finish without knowing your shit. So anybody who doesn't get that at this point, he's a great opportunity if you want to learn something in this environment.
Yeah, I mean, I second that. Obviously, we appreciate you coming out here. I'm like I said, it's really cool that I got to know you and train under you. He put on a competition that we were able to go to, which was really cool. And I've watched the Benning comp, and I don't mean to like ruffle any feathers or anything, but the Benning comp is almost uncool compared to the competition that he put on. The competition he put on was really, really creative. It was very creative. Yeah, there was stages, and Germany was there. Their sniper instructors were there to study that. Yeah, I remember there were stages that we shot there that you basically didn't know anything about the stage until it started, which was pretty cool because it really got you outside of the box in terms of your comfort level, and it forced you in the moment to make tactical decisions that were difficult. And there was like ranges appearing where they weren't ranges. It's like you don't get to do that in the military. Shoot a real world, course of targetry that isn't some kind of groomed range. Yeah, no, I had the SDZs and the bat wings, and I was out there on the map for like a month, just literally laying out ranges and everything. So firing positions, all that stuff. That was neat. That was a very fun experience for me. I love doing that. Yeah, that was cool. And that's one of the things I'm talking to Ben Franklin Range about it as well, is doing some competition stuff over there. And he's I haven't been there yet. I'm going to check it out. But from what he says, with the amount of area he has, like 1,100 acres. This is where? What state? Templeton, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour north of Pittsburgh. Yeah, like one detail, he put on a 3-dimensional stalking lane. So it was like there was overhead, observation with a person on a train feature. There were people on glass, like a traditional stalk lane. There were people walking, roving patrols. It's like little things like that. It puts a real depth to training, so I have no doubt that Jay can put together a course that would really impress. Thanks. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on to the episode. We really appreciate it. Because that was decades ago, and you've been in it the whole time. That's crazy. Right, and sharp the whole time, which is pretty mind blowing. But for people who want to check them out, grayskytraining.com. Thanks for coming on. And we'll probably be sharing this in our newsletter as well as writing a blog on it so that people can find you, check out your website, learn more. So thanks a lot for listening to this episode of Dwell Time, and we will catch you next time.